Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Notes from a Songbird podcast with yours truly, Myra DeShields Farrell. You're going to hear in the background that is my printer going off because I'm printing off some material for the next episode. So just ignore what's going on in the background and laser focus into what's happening here. So we wrapped up our last episode, something crazy with the camera, but who cares, right? Life is life and technology is technology and things are just happening, but that's okay. We're going to get to the chase, conclude that episode with a couple of reminders for you about singing in your key. We talked about finding a song that you love, lowering it a step until it feels comfortable, or increasing it a step until it feels comfortable, depending on the key and the pitch of the song. Or like I said, you may have to play with different tools so that you're not pushing, you're not holding back, you're just plain singing. If it is comfortable for you, then you should be fine. You are singing in a key that is comfortable for you. That's what you want to make sure of. So just make sure that you understand this, that every singer, as I mentioned, has a range where they are comfortable from low to high, high to low. Your best singing is going to be in that middle range where it's comfortable for you to go from note to note effortlessly. All right. That's not to say that singing isn't hard work. It's to say that you should be singing comfortably in a certain key and not stretching your vocal cords too much that you cause strain and you cause some type of issues with your throat that could have long range effect. That's what you want to avoid. Now, you're going to find when you're in your middle range, your tone is at its richest point. When we say rich, it's the sweet stuff going on there. It's where people say, "Oh my goodness, the soulfulness or the key element of the song was conveyed, the feel of it, the mood, so to speak." People can tell where you're creating and you're so in your power that it is almost effortless for you. It should be. My speaking voice is nothing for me to sing a Layla Hathaway song because I already speak, if you can hear in this deep tone. So that is my voice. Now, that's not to say that some people's speaking voice can betray you. Look at Michelle Lay. Michelle Lay's voice, her speaking voice, is totally different from where you hear her sing. That happens to be an anomaly. It's just different. It's her tone, though, and it's her key and her pitch. So that's true to her. It wouldn't be true to me to sing in her key or her pitch unless that's a comfortable place where my voice can handle those notes. So just things to be careful with, all right? So we commented on tools that you want to get in your possession. Use an app that has a piano keyboard on it. I certainly like to tell students to leverage that because you don't have to go and buy expensive equipment. You can leverage getting your ear trained to the pitch and your vocal box, your voice, your larynx, everything comfortable with singing in a particular key. So you want to make sure that you leverage those type of applications that are easy to get to. Now, if you have a keyboard at home, great, that's fine. You don't have to have a keyboard that has all 88 keys. You can have a keyboard that has several keys that are less than that, but still be able to obtain where you sit comfortably and where you can now look for songs that are in that specific key and let your voice learn to do its thing and let that muscle memory kick in to be comfortable in that specific space. There are backing tracks online in different keys. So I know for one, I've used them lots. YouTube has plenty of songs in different keys. They have lower, they have higher, they have male, female. They have so much that you can leverage because YouTube is now getting smarter. People who are leveraging teaching um, applications, they are leveraging YouTube and they are noticing that when they provide these in different pitches and keys, they can help their students better. Not only that, they can find songs that they themselves can leverage for practice and so forth. So take advantage of the freebies and what's online. Do take the time to get permission if you use somebody's track. it would be nice if you did get their permission to use their track, especially when you have people who are creating music online, not an interpretation of an artist's song and so on and so forth. So just be careful with some of that stuff. Just read the copywriting information very carefully so that you don't violate any copyright laws. Okay. So again, platforms like YouTube have versions of songs in multiple keys, so you want to take advantage of that. I remember, as I mentioned, singing in a key that wasn't appropriate to me, and I was doing a lot of straining. I was doing a lot of, I was inconsistent too, because I just was not following the rule of thumb to sing in a key that was comfortable to me. Back then, you didn't have a lot of, when I say back then, I'm not old, but I'm saying back when I was learning music, we didn't have a lot of these applications and we didn't have the ability to change keys unless we had a music teacher in that room who could lower that key for us. And she knew it. She could change that key from, C major, and she would change it to a different key to make it more comfortable for us. And we were just good to go. Now, I'm not saying that key was bad for me, C major. I'm just making up a key that, you could find difficult to sing in. C major is the middle range. So if you're a baritone, you may not find that to be a middle range for you. Depending on what your voice is like, you've got to find your key. You've got to find your sweet spot. All right. So here's the deal. Don't sing a song exactly as you hear somebody sing it. It could be harder to sing it that way. Learn to find ways to leverage singing that song in a different way. You're going to have to play and try different things and try different um, approaches to the music. And that's when I realized for me, I wasn't singing in the right key, but I could alter it where I was singing in the key that was comfortable to me. So, an Anita Baker, for example, I could sing effortlessly because Anita Baker was just like my normal speaking voice, it was my mid range where I felt comfortable. But to sing a Mariah back in the day was a stretching point for me. So I had to keep practicing, practicing, practicing to eventually get to that key. But that does not mean I went out there, bam, I'm singing this song and I'm in her key. Mm-mm. I had to wait and learn how to climb that ladder to get to that point. And some people think, oh, the high notes, oh, I got to impress people. I can all these high notes. Stop. People want to be more impressed that you can sing. Hitting a high note means nothing if you can't be consistent throughout the entire song. So it's very important that you leverage all of these tips and all of these tools as we conclude that particular episode. Um, you don't have to sing the song in the original way, as I mentioned, but sing it well. Your version, your key, and it still makes it valid. It's actually more authentic. And we talked about authentic singing, making something more you than what you're trying to impress people with. So I'll conclude with this to stop forcing your voice into spaces that it doesn't belong. When you sing in your key, it helps you better tell a story versus just hitting some random notes. Until next time, you're going to keep singing, keep growing, and protect your voice. This is going to conclude that particular episode for singing in your key. We're going to turn our attention now to another episode that is extremely powerful. Um, you know, sometimes someone can hear your voice and they just don't like it. They don't like it. They tell you sound nasally when you sing, or they can find different parts of your singing where they could have a problem with. And you want to be able to effectively handle that criticism and handle it with care. It's more of you now becoming aware of what you sound like versus what you think you sound like. And some people just can't handle the the sauce, the actual stirring of the pot, the actual criticisms that come with singing. You're going to have to be able to deal with that because vocal criticism is going to come whether you like it or not. There are things about my singing that I can certainly handpick and say to you, I am not 100% comfortable with the way that sounds, and that's okay. Not everybody is going to like what they sound like every single time. That doesn't mean that you can't get better at making that sound better, making a sound better. And that comes with practice. So initially, when I started off singing, I wasn't 100% sold on what I could do. Even though people were telling me they liked it, I wasn't sold. You've got to be sold and be confident in what you deliver. but you still also have to be prepared for criticism. So you have to think in terms of, how am I going to handle criticism, especially out the gate where people tell you you don't sound good, you need to get some lessons, or you need help. You're tone deaf. There are all kinds of things that make people feel like, you know what, maybe this is too big for me. So a lot of singers avoid hearing themselves played back. They don't like it. They say it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it's even discouraging. But avoiding your voice, sad to say, it delays your growth. See, vocal analysis is so important because when you actually analyze your voice, you start to notice things. When you analyze your voice, you notice tone quality. Is my voice warm, bright, airy? What about my pitch? Is it accurate? Are you landing on the notes cleanly? That's really important. Breath control. Are phrases steady or are they shaky? Vocal analysis is very important to be able to analyze what your voice is doing and how it translates to the ears. Tension. Do you sound tight or relaxed? You definitely don't want to sound tight because tension, but you want to be more relaxed. Consistency. Do you sound the same throughout the entire song? When we say sound the same, we're not talking about sounding the same that you don't have any inflection in your voice, you just flat one note. No, 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 no. We're talking about delivering consistent power, pitch, tone throughout the song. You're not squeaky here, you know, you don't go flat, you're consistent throughout the whole song. That's what vocal analysis reveals, whether you might feel one way while singing but sound completely different in delivery. So I would say that self awareness changes everything. This is the moment where singers grow. When you're more aware of your voice, you have room to grow because you go from, I think I sound good, to now I know what I'm doing. And if I'm a little shaky at this point, I even know how to fix it. I know how to improve it. I know different approaches in which I can fix it. I have some students sometimes that they'll say to me, I'm not quite landing the note here. Or they're not quite doing the ripples, or as we called it back in the day, the riff, like a Brandy or a Jasmine Sullivan. And then I say to them, well, then let's fix that note where we can make it sound more like you. Who doesn't want to sound more like themselves? I know I do. I don't want to sound like Jasmine Sullivan or Brandy or whomever because I want to be myself. Now, that's not to say that when I sing, I don't sound like somebody. That's okay. But the question is, am I trying to sound like that person? I shouldn't. I should literally be trying to sound like myself, but match their tone and match their vocal prowess or their skill. So here's the thing, you don't need a full studio to start. You should use what you already have. Use a phone to record yourself. I always tell my students this, get an application where you can hear what you sound like played back. And believe you me, when you hear it played back and you hear that sound, that is 100% you. That is your voice. Listen in headphones if you have it when you play it back so you can isolate any outside noise. They don't become a distraction for you. You really want to pay attention. What does this sound like? Even apps or platforms like GarageBand or voice memos are good. They help you hear what you sound like. But again, if you have some type of headset, some type of earphones, leverage them because you want to isolate so you don't hear any other sounds that could distort what you think you're hearing versus what's truly coming through those speakers. Yes, even listening back on YouTube if you post your singing. There are certainly songs that I've done years ago when I was just kicking up YouTube and starting off that I sing completely different now. It's called growth and it's called expansion. You're getting better at what you do. So you're going to hear that. You're going to hear your sound is completely different. You don't even approach the note the same, or you may switch it up. Who knows? You definitely not never going to sound the same as you did back in the day that you sound now. You should be getting better, right? If you listen with intention. So make sure you do that. Now, how to analyze without tearing yourself down. Again, I'm a firm believer in shifting one's mindset. Shift the mindset. Don't ask, do I sound good or bad? Ask, what am I hearing? Be objective because your voice is not your enemy, it's your instrument. Okay, so just be very careful with that. Now, I remember the first time I really listened to myself when I had the ability to have a recorder and I heard things I had never heard before. See, I had never really paid attention to my voice. I was used to just singing without any type of application. It's not till we started to be able to have a tape deck. I said tape deck, yes. Um, and some type of recording mechanism, we could hear ourselves. But now, even more so on YouTube, it's quicker. We don't have to hit play, and hit some chunky keys to be able to hear ourselves. We can just record and effortless, just like a memo or a recording device on our phone. It's so easy. But sometimes what you hear, you don't always feel good. Even to this day, I can hear something in a recorder and say, I don't like the way I sound there. Then I go back and I study and I tighten up where I need to tighten up. But I know my voice well enough that I should be able to make the adjustment quickly based on what I know about my voice now. I'm like, okay, it's the approach, the way you did that note. So self analysis is going to be very powerful, but only for someone who knows what they're doing. If you don't have a teacher or something like that, you're going to have a hard time doing some type of analysis because you could even think you sound good when you don't. So you definitely need that third party person to be able to help you out. So definitely leverage a friend who's going to tell you the truth, not somebody who's stroking your ego that tells you, girl, you sound just like Mariah. Girl, you sound just like Mary J. Stop playing. We need somebody who's going to be honest and critical. I recommend a teacher, someone who has that music in their ears 24/7. They are leveraging listening to music all the time and they can tell whether you sound good or you don't sound well at all. And then listen to their vocal criticisms to tighten up to get better. What is it that I'm missing? What is it that I sound like? Right? And then get the truth in the skinny so that you now know where you need to attack when it comes to that vocal box or those vocals. Um, like I said, sometimes you need another ear. So a vocal coach or trained listener can hear things you might miss. And that feedback, hunty, that feedback is so valuable. Don't get mad at it. Learn from it and study because that feedback is going to be everything for you. It can help you accelerate your growth in ways you didn't expect because now you can figure out, okay, what is it that I'm doing wrong? All right. Like I had a student one time, she wouldn't take a breath in the right area. And it made the difference in her being able to sing that note and hold it and sustain it effortlessly versus her falling flat toward the end of it. It also cooled her heels. It made her pressure lower and her ability to be more conscious of how she was delivering it because now she was more aware. You just want awareness. Feedback is awareness. You want to be aware of where you are with that vocal placement. Now, here's something powerful. Record yourself over time. Some people don't like to do that. I'm going to say it again. Record yourself over time, month by month. This is May. Record yourself. Then June, record yourself again. The month of May, maybe you're practicing that song. Then go back and hear yourself do that same song in June. You're going to start to see there's a little bit of growth there. Or are you singing it the same? Well, then continue until you get so comfortable where now you're starting to see, okay, somebody can tell you that third party and say, we're on to something here. Because when you hear it, it's going to be undeniable. It's going to be like breaking ground. All right. Now, you can improve. Let me say this: you can't improve what you avoid. So listen to your voice, study it, learn it, because the more you understand your instrument, the more powerful it becomes. Until next time, keep singing, keep growing, and protect your voice. Songbird out. And then we're going to talk about another important topic when it comes to singing. Keep making progress. You've got this. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.